Hello and welcome. This is a new lecture in your course Linux for Absolute Beginners by Audionix. My name is Ahmed, and in this section we are discussing the programs that are bundled with Linux, or the programs that you can install in Linux and provide the same functionality that are provided by other commercial programs in other operating systems like Windows or Mac. And we are going to discuss now the various multimedia programs that you can use in Linux. First one of which is Audacity. Audacity is a program that lets you work with sound files. It resembles in its functionality the other commercial programs like SoundForge or Adobe Audition. You can edit a large variety of sound files and formats. You can also apply a lot of filters like noise reduction, as well as adding different sound effects. Now, Audacity can be installed from the software repository of Ubuntu. Let's have a look here at let's just write software, and you're gonna find the software repository of Ubuntu. If you type here in the search Audacity, just a few first words of the program, you will find that it is listed here. I have already installed it to save time, and this is the icon of Audacity. If you open it, let's just close the other programs that are open in order to give you a clearer view. Okay, so this is Audacity. As you can see here, you have a large variety of audio files that can be imported: WAV, MP3, OGG, FLAC, and others. If you've worked with any sound files before, you will notice this variety of formats. You have here many effects that you can add to your sound file. You can make noise reduction, for example, and transform between different sound formats. Okay, if you've been working with any multimedia sound files before, you will appreciate what Audacity has to offer. We also have a program called Blender. If you are into the 3D graphics world, you can use Blender to create amazing 3D graphics. And again, it is one of those free programs, but these programs, the Audacity and Blender, are not bundled with Ubuntu. You have to install them from the software repository, as you have seen in just a few moments ago. They are not bundled with Ubuntu, but they can be freely installed, downloaded, and installed using the software repository. So here, as you can see here, this is pretty much the same as other commercial 3D packages. Okay, I've never worked with 3D before, but as you can see here, it has a lot of options that you can use here. Okay, and it's completely free. And next we have GIMP, and GIMP is a very well-known graphics editing application that provides largely the same functions provided by famous graphics editing programs like Adobe Photoshop, for example. So you can see here are a lot of tools here that can be used to work with pictures and images. If you have worked with Adobe Photoshop before, you will know what these icons are for. So this is GIMP. Next we have ImageMagick, and ImageMagick is one of those programs that do not have a GUI, they do not have a graphical user interface, but they are very powerful in that they can be inserted in shell scripts. And we're going to study shell scripts later in this course. For the moment, just understand that a shell script is just a group of commands that are placed in a file, and when this file gets executed, all the commands inside it gets executed all at once. So an ImageMagick program can be inserted in a shell script, and it can be used to apply various effects like, for example, cropping or changing the file format of images. So imagine, for example, that you have a folder that contains like 1,000 images, and you want to change all those images, like for example from the JPG format to the PNG format for some reason. If you're going to open those images one by one and change their format one by one, you're going to spend a lot of time, and you're going to exert a lot of effort. But using ImageMagick, you can just make a shell script that will list all the files in the directory and make all the necessary changes, like for example changing the file type or even making any effects like cropping on those images, and in a matter of seconds the effects are going to be applied. So this is the power of shell scripting and the power of ImageMagick in Linux. And finally we have a program that is called Handbrake, and Handbrake is a program that can be used to convert video files from one format to another. So as you can see here, you can have here the source, the video source. You can choose the video source you want to, and you can change it to another format. And of course, this is going to be very useful for people who are working in multimedia to produce, for example, DVDs, or those who produce videos that they want to be available on multiple devices, like for example, cell phones, and upload them on YouTube, for example. So they want various formats with various qualities and so on. So Handbrake is the program for this. And again, all these programs are free. Don't have to pay anything to download and use those programs. Now, in this part of the section, we are going to see how we can use Linux as a server. Now, the most power of Linux, my own personal opinion, comes when it is used as a server. That is because Linux is much more stable and secure than other operating systems. So it comes to no surprise that most of the web servers that power the internet websites are based on Unix or Linux. If you explore the servers that are used in Linux, let's first define what a server stands for, because I will use this term lots of times in this course. A server may refer to two things. It may refer to a program that runs in the background, and it is used to serve some service or function to a number of users, like hundreds or thousands or even millions of users at the same time. And a server also may refer to a machine, a whole machine that does this task. So if I say a web server, I may be referring to one of two things. Either the program that is used to serve websites to users, it is called a web server, or the machine that has a web server service installed on it, and it is also used to serve websites to users. So when it comes to Linux, and when I have a look at the web servers, for example, we have two major web server types: the Apache HTTPD server and the Nginx server. The Apache HTTPD is one of the most well-known web servers worldwide. It is very commonly used with languages like PHP and MySQL. MySQL is just one type of database, and PHP is one of the most well-known programming languages. Apache is most commonly used with these two components, PHP and MySQL, to create what's called a LAMP configuration. You will often hear this term if you are into web development. LAMP is an abbreviation for Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. This configuration is largely used on the internet to power most of the web applications that we see around, like, for example, WordPress or even Facebook. Facebook uses PHP, and it is powered by Unix and Linux machines. And Nginx is relatively much newer than the Apache HTTPD. Apache was developed in the early 1995, while Nginx was released in 2002. So it's, as we said, relatively new. And Nginx can be used with PHP to serve dynamic web pages. However, system administrators sometimes prefer to work with Apache and Nginx at the same time, because Apache is most powerful when serving dynamic web pages, while Nginx is most powerful when serving static web pages. And the difference between static and dynamic simply is that a dynamic web page serves content on the fly. In other words, I can visit a web page, and this web page gets created when I visit it. So for example, I can visit a website that grabs my username, for example, from a database and then greets me with my name. So the page can give me a greeting like, for example, welcome Ahmed. And it knew my name because it grabbed it from a database. So Ahmed was created and written on the web page on the fly while I am visiting it. While a static web page is just, as the name implies, a static file. A static file is just a file that has been saved with some text in it in some location on the server, and it gets served to me when I visit this website. It is not created on the fly. Nothing gets changed in the file. It's just served as it is. So Nginx is most powerful when serving that kind of files, the static web files, while Apache is most powerful when it comes to serving dynamic web pages, and dynamic web pages are created using the PHP language, as we have just discussed. So system administrators most of the time will have Nginx running side by side with Apache to get the most powerful features out of each of them. And of course, both of them run on Linux. Now let's have a look at software management. Throughout this section, we have already looked at different ways to install a package. We have looked at the Ubuntu Software Center. Here, let's have a look at it again. Just type software, and yes, it is that icon. This is the Ubuntu software program, and as you can see here, it is divided into different categories. You can here choose the category that fits you, like for example Office. You can find here all the programs that are available in the Ubuntu repository, and it also has subcategories. For example, let's see Finance. You have all these programs: Publishing, Project Management, and so on. So this is the software management GUI. But you also have something called apt-get, and you have seen me use it when I installed the Mutt and the Lynx web browser. Let's have a look at it again, CMD or terminal, and this is apt-get. Okay, these are the options that are used with apt-get. And apt-get is used to download and install programs and packages from the repository. Now, what is a repository? A repository is just like a website that is used to download different packages. This website is maintained and secured by the vendor, so the Ubuntu website or repository is maintained by Ubuntu. It contains the packages that Ubuntu provides for its users, and they can be downloaded either using the Ubuntu software package, the GUI program that we have just seen, or using apt-get text-based program. And the power of apt-get or Ubuntu Software Center is that it takes care of program dependencies. So, for example, if you want to download a program and this program has some dependencies that need to be installed before this program can be fully functional, the apt-get program or the Ubuntu Software Center will take care of those dependencies. They will download and install those dependencies for you before installing the software package itself. But behind the scenes, apt-get and the Ubuntu Software Center depend on another program, another low-level program that is called dpkg. dpkg is used to install the software, but it is not intelligent as apt-get. It is just a low-level program that is used just to install one package. You just give it the package and it installs this package. It will not search for a package in the software repository. It will not search for dependencies. It will not download dependencies. It will just install this package. So it is a dumb command. It is a low-level command. However, it has to be used to install the package, so it is used behind the scenes with programs like apt-get and the Ubuntu Software Center to install different software and different dependencies. And if you're using the Red Hat variants, like for example Red Hat Enterprise Linux, CentOS, or Fedora, you will have a similar program to apt-get, which is called Yum. Of course, Yum is not installed here because this is a Debian package. Yum is used with Red Hat variants, and similarly, there is a low-level command in Red Hat variants that is called RPM. Okay, so RPM can be used by Yum in order to install single packages. You just pass in a single package to RPM and it will install it, just like the dpkg program installs a single package. So RPM and dpkg are low-level commands. They are used behind the scenes by the high-level commands like apt-get or yum in order to install packages on your system. And that brings us to the end of this section in Linux for Absolute Beginners by Audionix. My name is Ahmed. I hope you enjoyed this section and see you next. Thank you.